I bet you didn't know how fascinating the journey of your money really is. Hi, I'm Pankaj Sharma and I'll be your guide as we explore the basics of economic flow. Have you ever wondered where money goes after you spend it? It doesn't just disappear. It goes on a journey, a big circle, kind of like the water cycle. We call this the circular flow of income. Think of it as the economy's circulatory system. It shows how money moves from one group to another and then back again, over and over. This flow keeps our economy alive and running. It's a continuous loop of spending, earning, and producing. Just like your heart pumps blood to all parts of your body, this flow pumps money through the whole economic system, making sure everyone gets what they need. Let's break it down. In any economy, there are different groups of people and organizations. We call these groups sectors. The simplest models have just two, while more complex ones have 3 or 4. The money moves between these sectors in 2 main ways. There's the flow of goods and services, which are the things we buy and the work we do. Then there's the flow of money, which is what we use to pay for those things. These two flows move in opposite directions, creating a perfect balanced circle. It's a beautiful, elegant system when you think about it. To understand this big idea, we use something called a model. A model is a simplified version of reality that helps us see how things work. It's like using a toy car to understand how a real car's wheels turn. We start with a very simple model and then add more parts to make it more realistic. By looking at these models, we can see how our own spending choices can affect the whole economy. It helps us understand where our paychecks come from and where our money goes after we buy our favorite snacks or video games. It's economics in action. At its core, the circular flow of income is about relationships. It's the relationship between you, the worker and consumer, and the companies that make the things you buy. It's the relationship between those companies and the government. And it's the relationship between our country and the rest of the world. Each part depends on the others to keep the circle moving. Without one piece, the whole system would slow down. So let's start with the simplest version of this amazing economic engine and see how it's built, one sector at a time. Consider this science. Let's start our experiment with the simplest model, the two-sector model. Imagine an economy with only 2 players. First, we have households. That's you, me, and our families. We are the people who own all the resources like our ability to work, our land, and our ideas. We are also the consumers who buy all the finished products. The second player is the firms. These are the businesses and companies that produce all the goods and services. Think of the factory that makes your favorite sneakers or the studio that creates your favorite movies. In this simple world, it's just us and them. So how does the money move between these two groups? Let's follow the flow. First, households provide firms with the things they need to produce stuff. These are called factors of production. The most common one is labor, the work we do. In return for our work, firms pay us wages and salaries. This payment is our income. This is the first half of the circle. We provide our work, and firms provide us with money. It's a simple trade. We give them our time and skills, and they give us cash. Now, what do we do with that income? We spend it. Households use their money to buy the goods and services that firms have produced. This spending is called consumption expenditure. When you buy a pizza, that money flows from your household to the pizza company, which is a firm. This is the second half of the circle. The money that firms paid us in wages now comes right back to them when we buy their products. And so the circle is complete. The money has flowed from firms to households and back to firms again. This two-sector model is a great starting point, but it assumes a few things that aren't quite true in the real world. It assumes that households spend every single dollar they earn. There are no savings. It also assumes there are no banks, no government to collect taxes, and no trading with other countries. It's a closed-off little world. However, it perfectly shows the most basic relationship in any market economy, the give and take between the people who work and buy stuff and the businesses that make and sell that stuff. It's the foundation for everything else. Now, let's make our model a little more realistic by adding a third player, the government. This creates the three-sector model. The government acts like a referee in our economic game. It sets rules, provides services, and most importantly for our model, it collects money and spends money. The government sector includes all levels of government from your local city hall to the national government. It interacts with both households and firms, which changes how the money flows between them. It adds a new layer of complexity but also a new layer of stability to the system. The first big change is taxes. The government collects taxes from both households and firms. When you get a paycheck, you'll notice some money is taken out for taxes. This is a leakage from the circular flow. A leakage is money that is removed from the main loop between households and firms. Similarly, businesses also pay taxes on their profits. This tax money doesn't go directly back to firms as payment for a product, it goes to the government. So households have less money to spend and firms have less money for their own expenses. But the government doesn't just take money out, it also puts money back in. This is called an injection. An injection is money that is added to the circular flow. The government does this through government spending. It spends money to build roads, schools, and hospitals. It pays the salaries of public workers like teachers, firefighters, and scientists. It also makes transfer payments like Social Security or unemployment benefits, which give money directly to households without receiving a good or service in return. All this spending injects money back into the economy. So, in the three-sector model, the flow gets more interesting. Money leaks out of the main circle through taxes and is injected back in through government spending. For the economy to be stable, the amount of money leaking out should ideally be balanced by the amount of money being injected back in. If the government taxes more than it spends, it can slow down the economy. If it spends more than it taxes, it can speed it up. The government's role is to help manage this flow, trying to keep the economy running smoothly for everyone. It's a big job. Alright, let's go global. The final step is to create the four-sector model, also known as the open economy model. To do this, we add the last and final player, the rest of the world, or the foreign sector. No country is an island, economically speaking. We buy things from other countries and sell things to them. This international trade has a huge impact on our circular flow of income. It connects our country's economy to the economies of every other nation on earth. Think of it as opening the doors and windows of our economic house to the outside world. When we buy goods and services from other countries, we call these imports. Let's say you buy a smartphone made in another country. The money you spend on that phone flows out of our country's economy and into the economy of the country where it was made. This is another leakage from our circular flow. Just like taxes and savings, imports represent money leaving the primary loop between our domestic households and firms. That money is now circulating in another nation's economy, not ours. It's a payment for a product we didn't produce here at home. On the flip side, when we sell our goods and services to other countries, we call these exports. Imagine a farmer in our country selling wheat to a company in another country. The money from that sale flows into our economy from abroad. This is another injection. It's new money being added to our circular flow, coming from an outside source. Exports, along with government spending and investment, add fuel to our economic engine. This money can then be paid as income to households or used by firms to expand their business. So, the four-sector model is the most complete picture. It has all the players, households, firms, the government, and the rest of the world. It has all the leakages, savings, taxes, and imports, and all the injections, investment, government spending, and exports. Understanding this helps us see the big picture. It shows how a decision made in another country can affect jobs and prices here at home. It explains why a strong export market is good for our economy and why relying too much on imports can be risky. These models show us we are all connected in one giant, fascinating global economic system, and that is science.